A little over a year ago, I published a YouTube video called 3 Things You Need to Master the Piano. If you haven't watched it yet, I invite you to watch it. At the end of that video, I said, I have no magic pill for you. But today, I'm here to tell you that there is a magic pill. There's one thing that's going to help you to master the piano. I'm Kristina Lee, and welcome to Live, Love, Piano. I'm here to help anyone who's interested in learning to play the piano. And I'm going to tell you how you need to approach it and practice it without any hype or misguidance. And YouTube videos are great, but if you really want a thorough step-by-step approach, please go check out my beginner course, Simple and Beautiful Piano for Adult Beginners, and my new intermediate course, Piano Mastery Intermediate. Now let's go on. What is that one magic pill that's going to help you master the piano? It is slow practicing, very slow practicing. Some students come to me and they say, do I need to practice slow? My answer is always the same, yes. And when students come and say, well, I've been practicing this, but I'm having a hard time with this, I always ask them, one of the very first questions is, have you been practicing slow? And often they say no. Slow practicing is really the magic pill that's going to help you in everything. In this video, I'm going to give you an example of how to do that slow practice. Before we go on, why is slow practice so magical? I always think about like kung fu movies. You know, when you're like watching a kung fu movie, there's that hero, right? Or the master, and they're going and there's usually like a scene where everything slows down and the hero is seeing everything coming his or her way in this slow motion, and they are able to deal with it because they can see it in slow motion. And I think slow practice for piano and probably all the instruments are something like that. We have to be able to see what's going on in a slow motion because there's so much that happens when you're playing instruments so complex as the piano. Now, let's go through an example of what that slow practice looks like. I'm going to use In the Hall of the Mountain King by Grieg from Peer Gynt Suite. We know this piece, right? It goes. We're very familiar with this piece. Let's say you're learning this for the first time. I'm just gonna skip the first measure and start from the second measure. The first thing you have to be able to do is to play correct notes with correct fingering. That's the first thing. So you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 4, 2, 4. And then here, you see there are a lot of fingerings in your music. That means you have to pay attention to it. If you don't do those fingerings, you're gonna run out of fingers. You're not gonna be able to play fluently. Now, fingering is a whole nother discussion we can have. Is there only one correct fingering? No, there are multiple fingerings you can use. But if you're starting out for the first time and you're using a good method book, it's really good to follow the fingerings that are there because it teaches what I call a standard movement. There are certain standard movements that we have in piano music because the music behaves in a certain way. And in order for us to achieve smooth, fluent playing of those movements, we use certain standard movements. So yes, there are multiple fingerings possible and you can do different things, but I do recommend that you try to learn some of these standard movements. So This is an example. At measure 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you need to go to 1 so that you have enough fingers to play the rest. 1, 2, 5, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4. So I would do this very, very slowly. Making sure you have the correct fingering and correct notes. And try to do it in a steady way as possible. In the beginning, you're not going to be able to play steadily because you're just learning the notes. You're struggling with the notes, you're struggling with fingering. So your goal is just to play the right notes with the right fingering slowly. And don't do like... You don't have to make it all even and steady, but also don't rush it. This is one of the things that students just do. They see something that feels easy and they just go, but that really does backfire on you. So keep it overall steady. So that's the first thing you have to do. Second thing you have to do is to be able to play slowly and be able to count out loud. You could count inside, but it will be more beneficial to count out loud because that keeps you accountable to what you're doing. It's just so easy to, oh, I'm counting, and all of a sudden you're not doing it. So there are different ways of counting out loud. You can do like tas and TTs. That's one method where TTs are the eighth notes and tas are the quarter notes. Tika tika are the 16th notes. So for example, this piece we would do ti 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 ta ti ti ta ti ti ta. So be able to count out loud and play slowly. Another way to count is to use 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. When we are using counting the numbers, we always subdivide by the smallest note that we have in the music. So the smallest note value we have here are eighth notes. So we would be counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And we would be doing that until you're really fluent at doing it for every beat. Because what we don't want is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You see, if you do that, every fourth beat is actually half a beat in reality. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. So in order to keep you accountable, you're going to be using subdivision for every beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 please count all the rest. Rest are part of the music. They're not nothing. They take up a space, and because they take up space, you have to count them. Sometimes this counting out loud with numbers become kind of burdensome. One of the simplest way to just manage that is to actually just count out loud with the smallest note value pulse. Pulse is, it can be that, or I've seen students do that, and I do this a lot too. Just kind of clicking your tongue. So for this piece, you would go. So that's the second part of practicing slow. You have to be able to count out loud and play. The third part is counting and playing with even, steady tempo. I know we didn't talk about hands together, and in this video, I'm not going to deal with that because that adds another complexity to the practice. So I'm going to make another video about the coordination and how to practice slowly when you're putting hands together. But I'm just going to demonstrate what it looks like to practice slow and steady while counting out loud. So it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. When I say slow, how slow am I talking about? I would say you should be practicing like 50% of the performance tempo or even slower. If you have a really hard spot, go like 20 or 30% of the tempo. So let's say the tempo is bum 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 bum. Those are my eighth note beats, okay? 50% is like that's 50%. And if you're unable to do it at 50%, slow down even more, 30%. So these are 3 things you must try to do when you do practice slowly. And you need to practice slowly. There's absolutely no way around it. When you talk to top players and performers, the best players in the world practice slow. If that's the case, why are you not practicing slow? And this is something that I question my students. I think it's not because of the intention, but somehow when students start playing music, something in them just wants to play. And so the slow practice takes a lot of discipline and self-control. And I think learning to play an instrument is a lot about self-control. We like to be able to do faster and well and quicker, but it's through self-control that we learn those skills. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I am sure if you have a teacher, you've heard them say practice slow. And I am saying this again, practice slow. All good teachers say the same thing, practice slow. And this is the magic pill. This is one thing that will change the way you practice. And when you practice differently, your playing will be transformed. Good luck.